honestly, I was expecting for this movie to be way, way
Worse.
way, way worse
Yeah.
than it was. Still wound up being a pretty underwhelming, bad movie.
It was definitely way too long
Oh God,
for what. Yeah.
for an X-Men movie. I mean, like for a superhero film. I mean, it's kind of par for the course, but for an X-Men movie,
Yeah.
I mean, that many characters in an X-Men movie being juggled at once for as long as they are, it's a tiring movie.
Yeah.
Oh
And no one really gets to shine in a movie like that.
no, no. And I mean, like again, par for the course for an X Men movie, and that's why I've never been able to get behind an X Men movie. Not really. I mean, like
He's doing it.
I'm
He's
doing
doing it.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. But I haven't really actually. I don't think I've actually been on the record over my feelings of the past X Men movies, except for maybe like First Class. But never was a fan of the X Men movies.
You know what? You need to get over this seating dislike. I'm not gonna say hatred, but you know what? Okay, maybe not seating either. This you need to get over this dislike of Marvel, and join the rest of the world in enjoying the mediocrity. Okay?
No, this has nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is just X Men movies by and large, which are Fox property.
Yeah, but we all know how you feel about the Marvel universe. Well, maybe not the universe, but at least the cinema.
The cinematic universe.
The cinematic universe, we all know.
We all know that, but my thoughts on the X-Men cinematic universe, which is completely different, is that as movies, they're structurally top heavy, and that's just what's going to happen when you have 20 different people playing in a single movie, and each one of them has their own stories that could play out fine in an episodic serial like comics, but in a singular movie, it's just a big old clusterfuck of I want some importance, but I want some importance, and there's never been a good happy balance, which is why of all the movies franchises I've ever seen, that X-Men movies deserve to have their one-offs, like the Wolverine movie. Like when they first announced that the X-Men Origins Wolverine was going to come out, it's like, okay, even though those were technically the first three movies.
First three movies were Wolverine movies.
But at least now you're dropping all pretense and giving us an actual Wolverine movie. Then it sucked every single turd in existence.
So they said, all right. We'll fix that by giving you another Wolverine movie. And it was a better movie.
It was a better movie.
But it was another Wolverine movie.
Yeah, and then the Gambit movie fell through, which, doesn't surprise me.
We do not need more Wolverine movies. We've had enough Wolverine movies. We've had, what is it now, 5 Wolverine movies? Future Past was Wolverine. We've had like 6 Wolverine movies. Come on, man. In a world, in not just in Marvel. Marvel's huge, but X-Men is huge. X-Men is like is a large portion of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like half of Marvel. X-Men's freaking huge, and you're giving 6 movies to one character. One fucking character.
I mean,
I know it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
He is the foremost of the
the most
the
popular,
but it's 6 movies.
I don't think Superman has had 6 movies. Well, I don't know. Would you count Batman v Superman an actual Superman movie? I mean, Superman's in it.
I don't want to talk about that movie right now. Yeah, this was better than Batman versus Superman. If that's what you're looking to know to see this,
Like
clear.
I'm actually if I'm asked that question, is this better than Batman v Superman?
Yes, that's not a question.
I laughed more in Batman v Superman.
Okay. Well, if you're looking at it that way,
Like, if you ask me, like, what was I more entertained by? I mean, it was...
the look on Batman's face when Superman just kind of strolls around the corner when he goes... Yeah, that was pretty...
I mean, like... And the
spitting out my nose, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, sure, there were, like, unintentionally funny moments here in X-Men in the Apocalypse, but... No, like if you... Like, as far as an enjoyment factor, where I can find my enjoyment in movies like this... Batman v Superman was a much more enjoyable film. Worse made movie, and it didn't have the excuse of having 20 billion characters to explain why that story was as a jumbled mess as it was. But that was more about, like, the politics, and that was more about, like, backstage, just, like, accountants and executives just going over their heads, like how do we get our own cinematic universe? We're losing steam here, and that explained that movie to the fucking T. Here, it's just more of that X-Men bullshit, which is not nearly as interesting or as entertaining.
Yes.
But
at least my favorite X-Men character and my Marvel character, my entire comic book favorite character wasn't in this, and I'm okay with that because he probably would have been Liev Schreiber. And I hear that's going to happen anyway, so whatever.
Well, like the third standalone Wolverine movie that's coming out, the rated R Wolverine movie that apparently we were all asking for.
I really, really, really fucking hope that it's not Liev Schreiber. I want Sabretooth to be in it. I want Victor to be in it, but I don't want it to be Liev Schreiber. It's not that he was terrible or anything. It's just that he wasn't right.
You don't like your pudgy Sabretooth?
Sabretooth is such an excellent villain to work with, and they just can't get it right. They can get the look almost with the very first X-Men movie. Almost. Like...
I can just imagine you like looking at X-Men Origins Wolverine, and you were just looking at Liev Schreiber's like, "No, you are not my Sabretooth! You are not my Sabretooth!"
That TV didn't survive. I got so angry, I destroyed everything but the DVD. I had no control. Anyway.
But,
no, the thing is that they got the look perfect in... I'm sorry, I said perfect, I want it to be. No, they got the look more accurate in the first one. And then they got the personality more accurate with Liev Schreiber's. And if you just combine the two and throw some more budget at it...
More than the 50 pesos that they got for X-Men Origins? I still can't believe...
Like, even the first one just looked like a caveman. It's just like, get a caveman costume and throw it on Tyler Mane, and there you're done. This one, they didn't even try that hard. I'm sorry, in that one, they didn't... In Orange, didn't even try that hard. Just, like, put on some black slacks and a shirt and put a trench coat on, you're done. Oh, maybe some of those press-on vampire fangs from True Blood, or not even True Blood level. They don't even, like, retract or anything.
Like from a Spirit Halloween store.
Yeah, like Spirit Halloween fang. He looks so stupid. The claws. You like that picture of him, like, trying to keep them on with the glue. Ugh. So you got to go off on a tangent a little bit on Batman vs Superman. I got to go off on that. Now we're going to try to direct this.
But
the X-Jet.
I don't know. Like the X-Men Apocalypse, I think is the. I mean, people are calling it the last stand of this current trilogy, but I don't know. It
doesn't feel like it is the last.
No, because Last Stand was way more like. That was more like Batman and Robin levels of like sheer ridiculousness.
Oh, Last Stand in quality, not as in it's going to be the last of its current franchise.
Yeah, like like where Batman and Robin took a franchise that was that was rooted in gothic, dark atmosphere, and then cast a neon light on it and made a joke out of it. So has Last Stand turned the X-Men franchise into, well, I would say it was a franchise that didn't exactly know what it wanted to be.
Yeah,
it's not grimdark, although there are plenty of violent moments in it, but it's not lighthearted. It exists in this weird sort of grayscale that tone is all over the place. Like I remember in what was it, the second movie? Yeah, it was the second movie where Wolverine just did that whole like he's got his adamantium claws, then all of a sudden shink, just made a middle finger out of the claws.
That was the first movie.
Was that the first movie?
Yes.
Okay.
He goes through the metal detector and it's like, and he shreds it, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm getting this right. I could be getting and then, Scott's like, I'm Scott. And then he's like, shh,
Yeah. Yeah. And, cut to X-Men 2 is where Wolverine sheathed his claws in like a panic mode. It's like, "Hoo!" And then all of a sudden he's just pointing his claws at a little cat who's just licking the.
Oh, was that too? Okay.
Yeah, that was 2, I believe. But again, it's just like those little moments where it's like, was that really entirely necessary? Because
I think this was better than Last Stand for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
hell, this is better than X-Men 2. Well, okay. To be fair, I haven't watched 2 or 3 in a long time.
But I think at least Last Stand...
But at least this was better.
At least Last Stand was just a fireworks stand of just wrong. I could sit back and watch something go up in a blaze of glory like that. I mean, nowhere in Apocalypse did anyone go like, "That's the Juggernaut, bitch!" No one did that. And no one had but they did the obnoxious crap. They did the fucking obnoxious, humorous crap where... in apropos of nothing, characters were walking out of a theater showing Return of the Jedi and just like, don't worry, the third movies are always the worst. I double flipped the bird at the screen after that one. It's like, all that is just a joke to give yourself license to suck.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you
understood.
by every meaning of the definition of the word. Fuck you. And
Yeah, he really did throw him up.
yeah, like, and more to the point,
I mean, that was just one of the times he did that, but
The
that
more-
was your
that was-
that was when you double barreled it.
I double barreled it. I mean, like, if you ask me, like, point singular, what was the moment in this year that pissed me off the most? That was it. I was just like, you are not being clever. You are not being funny. That is just fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And not only that, the whole scene was set up on the pretense of them going, like, a bunch of teenagers just decide, like, oh, let's get out of the house. Let's go to the mall. And Nightcrawler says, I've never been to the mall. Let's go to the mall. Even though, like, what isn't he supposed to be hiding out by the fact that he's a blue demon and everyone knows he's a fucking mutant? Like nobody's looking at the guy.
That's why he's in the circus.
Yeah, like, isn't, like, no one, looking at the blue demon with the fucking Michael Jackson jacket on, just saying, hey, I think that's one of them newfangled mutants I've been hearing about.
I'm going to say that he was definitely, I think, better than the first Nightcrawler, though.
Oh.
I hated the...
you hated Alan Cumming?
Alan Cumming Nightcrawler sucked.
Well, even though he still kind of held that... Like, they didn't want to let go of that Nightcrawler for some reason, because they kept the whole, ritualistic scarring.
The suckage continued. They kept the ritualistic scarring and the way too religious mentality that came with it.
Well, I wouldn't say they... Well, they kept him religious. I mean, they had him, like, doing the whole, like, chanting his sick evening prayers on a...
Yeah.
Like, during the final flight to, near the end of the second act.
But it wasn't as bad as the...
No,
Alan
it was
Cumming
not
one.
nearly as bad. It was not, like...
It's just
like,
mopey. He was more show-offy, like, in the comics,
which
we like.
I
like.
I tolerate. I mean...
Really?
Well, when you put Nightcrawler by himself as a kind of a show-off, that's fine. But when you pair him off with Quicksilver, who is also a show-off,
Yeah.
and you...
That's my problem too.
Yeah.
This movie had way too much transportation, or rather, way too much traveling power.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have people who can just go wherever they want. Apocalypse can do it. Nightcrawler can do it. Quicksilver can do it. And everybody, and everybody else has at least some, mobility, like, flying or whatever, or being able to just talk to other people through their minds. A lot of that. There's so much connection here. There's so much ease of connection from character to character that it's almost like, why don't they just face off in the...
It's like it leads to a very poorly structured movie, especially because there's not just because those characters have the ability to interact with each other regardless of where they are location wise,
Yeah.
but also because of just the sheer amount of them. So, the beginning of the movie, there's like 5 different plot lines going at the exact same time. It's like watching Cloud Atlas, except the broken up structured narrative isn't a part of the theme of the movie. It's not embedded in some kind of meta-narrative context.
That's where you were going with Cloud Island.
But how like that start-stop narrative where it's like a bit of this story, but then a bit of this story, then a bit of this story.
It's like watching Cloud Atlas. Cut context.
But in Cloud Atlas, scenes would mirror each other. A character is trying to escape someone in a situation, another character from a different timeline is doing the exact same thing. Even though they're not tangentially connected, they are thematically connected. This is just, we're telling 6 different stories at the exact same time. Yeah. All right,
it's cluttered. It's just cluttered.
It's just a cluttered movie, but that's by, you can't argue that an X-Men movie wouldn't be cluttered because an X-Men movie is just embedded in the notion of being a clusterfuck. Mm-hmm. I mean, what pure definition of a clusterfuck is just the X-Men universe? Let alone the Marvel universe, the X-Men universe. Just the singular entity where there's 500,000 characters, each with their own unique powers, just living their mundane life, or I say mundane, but trying to live their mundane life, but then outside Marvel, fuck you powers start happening to them. Like, cosmic forces, fucking apocalypse is here.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what are we gonna do? Oh my god, Jean Grey can't contain the Phoenix Force. What are we gonna do? Yeah. Fucking Galactus is gonna swallow the... Oh god, this is... So try to take that in the comics and then transplant that into a movie. There's no way it's not gonna be a cluster. But the question isn't like, how much of a like the question really becomes how can you dampen that clusterfuck? Like how can you try to
contain
and just cut the chaff? And I'd say that like the only movie that really did that was the first X-Men movie, and maybe a little bit of First Class, because at least with First Class, it managed to set itself up as like, okay, this is the beginning of the X-Men. At least you're starting carte blanche.
Yeah.
Not carte blanche. It's tabula rasa. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But like it's tabula rasa. Yeah. We're just going to start from the beginning. All right. So everyone's on the exact same page. Kevin Bacon is Sebastian Shaw. It's everyone's everyone is going to have a good time. Then the second movie came out. The second reboot and this new franchise. I'm just I couldn't even like I sat through it, but it was just like the faults are starting to show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Days of Future Past when I watched it. I thought it was better than First Class from my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the stress fractures were definitely starting to show in the second one, and this is the breaking point.
But this is where
like this is where it's just like, okay, abandon all ye hope. This is going back to the exact same problems in the trilogy.
Because I mean, the first one was getting used to a completely new cast from the other three. Mm-hmm. But amongst other things, but God, let's start with the beginning.
Yeah.
And where trailers and rumblings aside, the intro. Well, before that, that message. From the actress playing Storm.
Yeah, like
at the beginning.
This is the very first time I've ever seen this ever.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing this before in a movie. Well, I mean, okay, I've seen it in like certain circumstances, like when I was seeing Lawrence in Arabia on
Lawrence of Arabia. You said Lawrence in Arabia.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the book I was reading with Lawrence in Arabia. And then there's Lawrence of Arabia. It gets it mixed up, but not the Seven Pillars of Wisdom with Lawrence Arabia, but. When I saw Lawrence of Arabia in it was the new cut in theaters, they had a message from Omar Sharif before the film that was really endearing, really nice. I say that a lot. I say endearing way too much. It was really nice, and especially seeing as he passed away soon after. And that was like a really good time. That makes sense. Times like that, having an actor come out and talk about it, like I'm really happy to have been a part of this, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did to be in it and stuff like that. Makes sense.
Yeah, but that's an occasion, and very few movies deserve the distinction of an occasion like that.
Yeah.
And Lawrence of Arabia, yeah, I get that, but not X-Men Apocalypse. Where the actress who plays Storm just comes up in front of the camera and is like, "Hi, I'm the actress who plays Storm. I just want to sit here and just thank you all for just coming to the theater and seeing our movie."
For once, I couldn't agree more with the person from us who's just like, "Go away, bitch."
It's like, get to the movie.
I was like, okay, that's a little harsh, but yeah, go away.
It's like
this is not working.
Like we paid the ticket. We didn't want your thanks. We want to see the fucking movie.
That worried me a lot. I thought this movie was going to be way worse from that. Because I was like, if they have to pull that out and like thank us ahead of time for coming and seeing this, I was like, this is going to be a complete catastrophe. The one that, we might actually enjoy how bad it is, like Batman vs. Superman, but it didn't turn out like that. So.
No. I'm noticing that this is what Fox is doing now. I think it might have started with Deadpool, where like at the end of the credits, it showed us a little title card that says like,
we provided so many jobs.
Like this movie provided so many jobs and so many work hours, and the same thing happened in this movie. So I'm thinking that this is Fox's way of trying to get people to think more before they pirate a movie.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to like this is trying to like kill him with kindness in a certain way.
Yeah.
And granted, this is a lot more effective, I suppose.
But honestly, anybody who has the mindset that they're going to be pirating a movie is not going to give a shit. I really don't think so.
I mean, like at this point, it's not like anyone It's not like anyone who's ever pirated a movie honestly felt like this doesn't affect anything. Yeah, it fucking does.
Like, how many times do you see somebody? I mean, I don't know how covert you can be about it, but if you look at that, that thing they have before every movie where they like, this is obnoxious, this is rude, this is illegal, where he's just like,
yeah,
hey God, freaking Voldemort looking fellow. But How many times do you ever notice anybody seeming to be doing that? You know, never.
No, like I've never seen anyone try to pirate a movie,
Yeah.
but I definitely have seen like Brad has certainly done that. Brad has seen not.
Oh,
not,
I was like, whoa!
Brad has not pirated a movie. All right. I mean, Brad. I remember Brad saying like, yeah, there was a guy who was trying to film.
Okay, it wasn't Deadpool.
No, it wasn't Deadpool.
Thank
but
God.
like, yeah. But so and so movies that over the course of his vlogging career. But regardless, it's I get why you're doing it, Fox, and trust me, it's a lot more inviting and a lot less unintentionally hysterical than those like you wouldn't steal a car. It's like you wouldn't steal a wallet. Why would you steal a movie? Like pirating is a crime. You know, like nothing. It's way more effective than that. But and I think it's more effective by the fact that she didn't actually come out and say, so thank you for joining and thank you for seeing our movie in the theater, not downloading it like some hooligan.
I would have enjoyed that though.
I mean, yeah, like the parts of our brain, the reptilian parts of our brain that just love it.
And then her eyes light up and she goes storm mode. And it's like,
yeah,
I'm zapping your phone if you're trying to. I don't know.
Like, this is a copyrighted motion picture owned by the 20th Century Fox Corporation. If I see you try to pirate this movie, Satan will rain down hot acid through your throats. Moving on. Oh man,
It was like, if you're doing that, you're no better than this guy. And then Apocalypse comes on. He's like, hey guys, I'm also in the movie, and I'd like to say that fuck yourself.
They should have just made a song and dance number out of it.
I'm Apocalypse, and I'm here to say
I'm Apocalypse, and I'm okay. I wish I was clever enough to keep going with that.
watch me do a hula dance
To shake the Egyptians from my pants.
Ah, jeez.
But so
moving on from there.
like the beginning of the movie sets up Apocalypse is trying to
Let's not even go to there yet.
what?
I wanted to mention how shitty the intro graphics were.
Oh yeah, but like Apocalypse.
Oh wait, that came afterwards.
Yeah. So Apocalypse is trying to transcend into a different body, and I knew I was in trouble. I knew we were in trouble when, in apropos of nothing, I say that a lot too, but like they got this nondescript looking guy to be his new body, and he just, and for no reason, guy just cuts his body, and then the body just reattaches itself heals from the wound, and that's to set up that he's going into a body that has a healing factor. You get it, Moo? You get it, guys? You get it? Do you get it? Do you get it?
Yeah, and how about that? Okay, so we're trained on my area of Egyptian lore. It wasn't as bad as Gods of Egypt.
Oh no, of course not.
But it was still. I mean, it's gonna be gold as fuck. That's how it is. But sometimes I really prefer at some point to see movies trying to replicate that, and maybe tone down the gold shine a little bit and try to give it a little more grittiness. I mean, I don't know. Like stone was a very big part of Egypt. It wasn't all made of gold. But anyway, Apocalypse. I mean, they had they had the heads. They had Anubis, Bast, and Thoth, whatever. All those heads on the horsemen. Mm-hmm. Death, plague, pestilence, whatever, and strife, whatever I forgot. They all. But and then they had Apocalypse in the boat. Mm-hmm. And he has like this. What the fuck was that? Did you recognize what his headdress was?
I don't know. No, I didn't. It just
in the solar barge. Yeah. I didn't. I couldn't tell what the fuck that was. It looked like it was just like this mound of gold with like a knob of trunk-looking thing over it. I couldn't even tell what the hell that was supposed to be. Maybe we're not supposed to know.
I don't know, but
it looks stupid.
But bigger problems lie in when treachery is afoot, and the guards decide like we're going to bury this false god, and two people Just two people managed to bury an entire pyramid.
Destroyed an entire pyramid.
Destroyed an entire, fuck you, 300-foot tall, wide, and maybe.
Well, I think it was more than two people. This is like four people.
Like four
but
people.
Still.
But still, like they just hit these two wooden pegs and let go of these gigantic stone slabs that just were perfectly structured and architected to completely destroy the entire support system and just completely bury the whole thing. This is
Okay, so pyramids. Support system. It's blocks on top of blocks on top of blocks. It's big blocks, smaller blocks. It's blocks. Dude, there's no beams on a pyramid. Look, there's no like big wooden beams or whatever fuck beams holding up a pyramid. It's not like they put up like a freaking teepee and then put blocks around it. I thought you don't have to know a lot about Egypt to know that. I thought. But apparently Apocalypse's pyramid had beams in it. And they're able to, apparently while they were building the interior of the pyramid, they set up like this entire area for these blocks to go through that would destroy the beams. And it's like, did no one notice that they were, spending days of, months, years, centuries, as long as it takes to make this. Throughout the entire pyramid, they had to put these there. So it's like, what did they tell them this was for? Like, this is the bathroom? This is where everybody shits and it just comes out the pyramid? Or...
So, like, this has to be a multi-generational plan. It's like, fathers pass this on to their sons. It's like, okay, you're going to be building this pyramid for the rest of your days, but we came up with this great structural plan that'll bury the false god and all of his colleagues and all his followers in a gigantic rock pile. Follow these plans and then teach them to your son, then have your son teach it to his son, and I have to imagine that this has to be the longest burial plan in cinematic history.
Yeah.
Because the pyramids were not built in a decade. They were built...
No, it was centuries. It was just...
Yeah.
I mean, of course we find out the Apocalypse apparently could just make shit. So
yeah, he's been spending millennia just gathering mutant powers by just inhabiting mutants over the years,
which is accurate to the character. That's what, if I recall correctly, that's what Apocalypse does. Is he gets mutant powers from other mutants, it's kind of like a Deadpool scenario there.
But that's fine and dandy and sweet as candy. But my question is, what kind of fucking ancient mutant power allowed him to absorb information through a television?
Oh yeah, that's so electricity allows him to gather.
I guess
he can see like all TV through what? I don't even want to wrap my head around it.
Like, apparently, some mutant in the 10th century BC, 10,000 BC, just had a mutant power that was absolutely useless to him.
I didn't even come to that. Good one. Yes, that's true. That is really funny. Unless it's unless it's not actually like electricity, it's just like an input.
Either way, how would you even know that your powers could manifest in such a way if you lived in a time where there was no electricity?
It clearly would have had to be through electricity.
And how would he know? And more importantly, how would Apocalypse know that guy had that power? Why would he even think that he would want that power? It's just like, oh. Especially later in the movie where he goes on this long spiel about mankind relies too much on technology. It's like, bitch, you learned how to speak English thanks to our technology.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's
stealing fire. He stole fire from the false gods. What kind of god are you? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. And so that explains where Apocalypse has been since before and since all this time. But that intros into probably the most hilarious, what the fuck were you thinking title animation I've ever seen, where it's just it's Apocalypse and he's under rubble, then all of a sudden the camera whips around and it's just zooming through cracks, and all of a sudden it's like the history of man. Michelangelo's statue of David. No, it wasn't David. It was the Mona Lisa. It was Civil War. It was the Revolutionary War. Then
It sounds kind of cool, actually, the way you're saying it.
yeah, but
it
like,
wasn't.
It was
It
like
was weird.
It's like if you went inside the TARDIS and you tried to go through a time tunnel.
Yes, it looked a lot like the TARDIS at the beginning of the
But instead of like just nondescript blue
Yeah.
energy creating a tunnel, it's just like the menagerie of like mankind's history forming the tunnel that you go through.
Yeah, it's like there's a swastika pops up, cha-ching, you knock it down as the camera goes over it and stuff like that. And
Why did you make a cha-ching sound for a swastika?
Oh, why? For some reason, that's the sound effect that just came to me. I can't remember what it was just like a cling. I don't know. Cha-ching. Money sign, swastikas in my eyes.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
I don't know, but it may as well. It was just so wonky.
Yeah, wonky. And from there, it just kind of buried itself into, okay, what's Professor X doing? Okay, what's Scott Summers doing? Oh yeah, Scott Summers shows up in this movie. Woo. Okay, what's Mystique doing? Okay, what's Magneto doing? Okay, what's not McAvoy? Moira McTaggart. What's Moira McTaggart doing? Okay, are we all gonna? How long until we all converge? Okay, can we converge? Can we converge? Can we converge? Thank you. It's a good first hour of the movie is just bullshit. It's just trying to be meaningful characters.
Which means that we can talk about my worst part of the movie now.
All right, what's it? What do you feel was the worst part of the movie?
Oh well, thank you for asking.
What do you feel is the worst?
I was wondering. Oh man, it was that circle thing.
What circle?
The one that looked kind of like this.
Do it.
You were wondering when that was gonna come, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually. during the before the movie started, I just had a bug up my ass and just like, why don't we bring back the circle game?
Feel like I'm 10.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's just like being 10 again. That's all you have to do to feel young.
Yeah, it's just like,
Bam.
Get your friends together and like, hey,
Yeah.
From now on, the circle game is always on.
Skip all those cocoon pod things in the pool.
Yeah.
Forget Wilford Brimley.
You actually got me pretty good with that one. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Why did I thank you for punching me in the arm?
I don't know, but I'm okay with that.
But was there what is actually your legitimate worst part of the movie? Now that you got me asking.
Seriously though, we're at about the right point now that we're talking about what are you doing? Okay, well, what Nightcrawler was doing, and I think everybody had seen the trailer. Everybody knew if you had any sense about you and you knew what Nightcrawler could do, you knew this was going to be bullshit already, and it was bullshit. It was that thing where you see Nightcrawler in the trailer trying to escape the cage, and he fails because it's electrified.
That's how I get revenge. That's how I get revenge on the circle game.
No, I noticed that doesn't actually really show up audibly, so we could just not mention it. But I'm going to
because you want your pain to be inflicted on them. Okay, I get it. But
anyway, so the point where he gets zapped, and you're like, oh my god, really? Are they going to say that electricity? Well, yeah, they do. When that happens, just to make sure you really know that it's bullshit, they say, "Ha! It's an electrified cage. You ain't going nowhere." So let me just be clear: in this continuity, Nightcrawler cannot teleport through through electricity. If a surface is electrified, and that stops him. So he does have land. He does. They even talk about it. They say, yes, I can teleport to where I see, and I can teleport to a place I'm familiar with. I'm going to say they're keeping with the comic, pretty much, which means that he opens a rift. He opens a portal to the Brimstone dimension, where he is at on himself. He goes through it, and he comes out He opens a portal somewhere else. He does not travel. Nightcrawler does not travel when he teleports. Teleporting is not like you're moving. It's somewhere else. Especially when it's a portal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even really teleporting. It's just portal travel. That's why all that smoke comes up. If you don't know about Nightcrawler, I'm explaining it. That's why all that smoke comes off of him, because he brings it back from the Brimstone dimension. It's that brimstone-y atmosphere and it smells like shit. I was hoping that they would mention
like
that.
sulfur.
It smells like sulfur. And they, of course, never mention, like, oh, fucking God, you smell fucking horrible. Kurt. God. Like, it's like, I know that the only way for us to survive is if you teleport us, but I don't want to smell that. Anyway, they never bring that up. So, basically, electricity can stop portal travel. Fuck you!
Oh, that was a glorious bit of fanboy ranting. I was just privy of witnessing.
Nightcrawler was my favorite comic book character as a kid. Before Sabretooth became my favorite. So
until you became Sabretooth.
Until I became Sabretooth. Oh yeah, so you guys were talking about, like, what the fuck, are you becoming Wolverine, Gabe? You're close. I was becoming Sabretooth. That's what was happening. I'm gonna be cosplaying Sabretooth.
Awesome. But yeah, that's all just a host of bullshit and them trying to write themselves an excuse of why Kurt just can't teleport out of a cage or teleport wherever he wants.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we can't save him because electricity, even though that doesn't fucking work. Ugh. I mean, like, granted that like in this continuity, it is literally just traveling. I suppose that's the only way. That's the only explanation that makes that little bit of that electrified fence, as it were, makes sense.
God, but not even that, because I mean, teleportation. You know, I mean, I know one process is the destruction. I'm doing this again, but the destruction of molecules equalize the equation somewhere else.
Anti-life and whatnot.
But it wouldn't work that way. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just transparent. We gotta nerf this. Right, we gotta nerf this, otherwise the movie's broken.
Yeah,
but the movie's already kind of broken, just by the virtue of Apocalypse.
Yeah,
like Apocalypse, like, you know, like his grab bag of fucking, like, I got all the powers. You want to see all these powers I got? I'll just, you know, bring them in out of nowhere. Like me, like, able to, like, he has the ability to not only absorb information through a piece of technology he had no way of knowing would exist.
Yeah.
Not only that, he also has the ability to see faster than light, which I think is physically impossible.
Yeah, that was like...
He has the ability to see faster than light.
Where did he get that one?
How did he get that one? Because not only can he see faster than light, but he can apparently absorb
like...
Yeah.
Not just... Well, it wasn't power, it was just... It was the ability to take in information at that.
I know, like, it's so nebulous and ill-defined that it could be anything. But, like, how does he know? Like, Quicksilver is just laying the punishment on, and he's just bam, 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 and, you know, bouncing him around like a pinball.
And that's when you're at the point where you're like, I'm glad that they didn't miss that he could do this. I'm glad that, you know, it's like it's the Smarks on. They're like, hey, you know, the way X-Men should have ended, Quicksilver just like boom. And they're like, you know, they're gonna say that. Apparently, they didn't care about the Nightcrawler point, but they just, on certain points in the movie, they said they just got like, hey, we gotta defend ourselves here. And got up in arms, and it's just like, okay, well, we'll have Quicksilver hand it to him to show them that, yeah, we realize that.
Yeah, like, see, it's like he can gain his power just by looking at him, but he's moving faster than light, which means how is he able to see faster than light?
But then, in the process of trying to say, yeah, we see that, they stumble over themselves again on another note. So,
like, I don't care. Like, does he also happen to have a mutant power where he's able to see faster than light? Again,
you're just making more problems. Just stick to electricity stops everything. Just stick to that.
Just like that's the magic cure-all for any and all problems that these X-Men
like
powers.
Storm, if she's on hand, just shuts everyone down because of electricity.
Yeah. And speaking of shutting everything down, were you all excited for Olivia Munn being Psylocke? Don't be. She does jack shit in this movie.
Yep.
Absolute jack shit.
And why is it, of all the characters in this, She is the only one who they went to the letter on the costume. I saw that in the trailers. I was like, holy shit, that's like Psylocke right out of the comic pages.
Like,
Why her?
because there was a
Because she's like cheesecakey?
Yeah, I suppose that, and also it's like the hype machine. Like the internet loves Olivia Munn, and now Psylocke is a great cult character that has yet to be introduced in this in the.
And they just really wanted to make sure you knew that was going to be Psylocke.
And then she says like maybe 5 lines in the movie.
Yeah, and isn't she usually with the X-Men?
Yeah.
This is where my knowledge of
like
X-Men gets
Psylocke is one of those like I do things on my own. If our paths cross, then they cross. But then like there wasn't even a moment where Ivan Ooze Apocalypse just like mind control, because he doesn't have that power. That's the one power he doesn't have. And that's why he takes an interest in Charles Xavier, because he can possess Charles Xavier's body and then mind control anyone he wants. But he does not have the ability to influence people. All he does is just promise Psylocke to give her, to augment her powers, which apparently he does have the ability to do. But you never see him do it. So it's like Psylocke...
Honestly, Psylocke just has Psylocke ability at a normal level throughout the entire movie, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, no big whoop.
Yeah.
So I'm left wondering, all right, what is...
They should have had like her dagger, her side dagger when it comes out.
Yeah.
Should have been like this little whir.
Or like turning it into like...
And then he just kind of gives it, he gives it Viagra, and it just gets like huge.
Like, who knows? Like, maybe like the extent of her ability was that she was able to create a side blade, and then after her upgrade, now she can make a psychic whip.
Make like a Wonder Woman whip or a lasso or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Balrog.
I mean, like, she does literally nothing in this movie. She has a fight with Beast. That's it. I don't think she's just kind of like... I guess in this cinematic universe, in this continuity rather, she's like a tweener, I suppose. Like, she'll just, hey, you promised me to be, you promised me I'll be more powerful. Okay, I'll follow you. Hey, you kind of died when Storm realized, like, Storm was one of the horsewomen of the apocalypse. Of this current apocalypse. In this one.
I mean, originally at the end it was like Wolverine. Angel was still, and I'm blanking on the other two, but
the Gambit, I believe, was.
I think.
Yeah, Gambit was a horseman of the apocalypse.
Yeah,
but again, my X-Men knowledge is just like there's just no like fucking biblical scholars are the only people who are capable of keeping all of the fucking mythos of
archives. Yeah, but I mean, it's like. I keep stumbling. I keep wondering, like, do we have to say spoilers?
No,
because I mean, these are like the kind of reviews that it's going to be. Spoiled,
yeah,
right?
like this is just going to be a general discussion. Plus, I'll put a spoiler in the description. But I was returning to my point about Psylocke just being utterly useless. Like here's Psylocke to the T. She gets approached by fucking Ivan Ooze Apocalypse. He promises her power. She fights for a little bit. She has no real impetus to do it other than the promise of power. He falls, and then she just fucks off.
Yeah.
And she just
she just does like a
and then just walks off. Where the fuck are you walking off to? You're in the middle of fucking Cairo.
Speaking of which, where the hell did Wolverine walk off to, right?
Yeah, like I'm reminded of that Patton Oswalt bit where interrupting an orgy and then one guy just wanted to escape the situation, just puts on a pair of girls' sweatpants and loudly announces that he's leaving the house, but the house is up in the Hollywood Hills and there's nothing but trees and bushes in the background, but he's just walking through, just trying to get... That's that bit with fucking Wolverine. Oh, by the way, Wolverine shows up in the movie for like a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get back to that. But finishing Psylocke and then going to Wolverine, Psylocke is just like the one thing. Like Bryan Singer, I know you directed The Usual Suspects, and I know you have a lot of clout as a director. But for the love of God, the last shot of Psylocke is just her walking away while flames are in the foreground.
Yeah.
Beyond, all right, that a bit of annoyance aside.
Believe me, it annoyed me plenty.
Yeah. But Wolverine shows up in the movie because apparently the compound that Colonel Stryker took a bunch of the mutants after Apocalypse managed to gain hold of Cerebro and launch every fucking nuke into the orbit to get rid of every nuke. Okay. He gets rid of every nuke, and so Stryker goes to the X-Men compound and just takes a bunch of key X-Men mutants, and then he just lets a bunch of students just lie there unconscious on the ground because he doesn't really fucking need them. But he takes him to apparently to the Canadian Weapon X program facility. I don't know why they took him particularly there, because Wolverine's there. He's kept inside like in a blast shell. He's kept inside this gigantic nickel-plated, fucking, when you keep in a fucking warhead. You keep a warhead in something like this.
So, actually, this is where I'm going to say I realized that I didn't hate this movie. Right about the point where they were getting to there and they were establishing the Four Horsemen. Storm has the mohawk.
Yeah.
And that was cool. It's 80s Storm. Some of the things that they did, it realized that this felt very did feel comic booky, because it was stupid fun, stupid dumb fun, too long of a movie for stupid dumb fun, spaced out way too much, but that's what it had going for it, and it was very we're over here now, turn the page, we're over here now, next panel. It was very it was very, it had a lot of 80s cheese to it in that way, and it was kind of just like stupid, dumb fun.
But I feel an asterisk with that, right? Or is that just are you saying?
I'm trying to say it kind of going to the Weapon X facility, oh bam, now we're here. It was kind of like a let's go tour around different X-Men universe areas and do things there, and it was just kind of.
Yeah, I felt that was more of an annoyance than anything else.
The problem is that they weren't able to commit to just a dumb 80s cheese style kind of movie.
Even though the soundtrack was wanted to.
The soundtrack tried.
Yeah. I mean, Quicksilver saves the entire Charles Xavier School for the Gifted Youngsters.
Fucking God.
Set to fucking Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This.
I think that was my second least favorite
part
of the movie.
I mean, I looked at that as I know this is crap, but this is... Oh, crap. This feels like a fan-made music video. It felt like somebody just wanted to... It's this will be awesome if it was set to the Eurythmics.
And that's how far that scene went, is that this was starting to feel like a dumb 80s cheese movie of X-Men. If it was made in the 80s. And then that scene happened. And it went too far for a dumb 80s cheese film.
And then it became
it became
just a dumb 80s cheese film.
Not even. Then it just became cartoonish, like Saturday morning cartoon shit. That's what it became.
I don't know. I can't come too hard on it. I can't. I mean, I know it's dumb. I know it's really fucking dumb. But
the way they did his scene, what was it? In a bottle, time in a bottle. In the Days of Future Past, that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
that was really well done. I mean, it was taking Quicksilver's ability to go over the top, and keeping it just restrained enough to not just be stupid. It was graceful. It was well done. It was just the music worked with what was going on, and it was funny, and it was funny, but it was tasteful. This was just how absurd can we get?
I think they could have gone more absurd.
For the sake of absurdity.
I think they could have gone more absurd.
Maybe if they'd gone more absurd, then we could have just said, okay, this is...
as it was, I think it's a gradient situation. In Days of Future Past, that was it done well. Humorous, but, the great introduction to Quicksilver's powers.
Yeah.
Here, it started going in the middle of it, where it's sort of okay, this is starting to, wear out its welcome. But to me, it was more funny than annoying. Although it was annoying. If they just went completely all the way over to the end to let's turn this into a carnival freak show of just absolute balls to the wall and mental insanity, I would have been perfectly fine with that too.
It didn't fit with the rest of the movie. It didn't fit that well. I mean, even for a movie, certain scenes didn't fit other scenes in this movie. Too much of the movie was trying to be too more dramatic and realistic, like the well, realistic. Trying to be
a character drama.
Yeah, trying to be a character. Thank you. Trying to be a character drama like the other films before it. Trying to keep that scope, and then having like the four horsemen, the horsemen of the apocalypse song from Metallica.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just going like, man, this is the apocalypse movie. We're gonna play the four horsemen by Metallica. It's gonna while people do action stupid powery things, and it's just this movie couldn't decide what it really was.
Like it's kind of hard to watch a movie where Magneto loses his new family in the dumbest way possible.
Yeah,
he loses his new family. He hides out in Poland. He has a family. His daughter is a mutant who can talk to animals.
I'm stumbling over myself trying to just
his daughter.
Explain it.
Yeah, like Magneto's daughter has not Scarlet Witch, by the way, but Magneto's actual daughter. Magneto's daughter has the ability to talk to animals and command them, I suppose.
I love how the mutant genes are just completely random.
Yeah, I know. Like she can talk to animals, and the first shot we see of her is her playing with a deer,
reindeer,
with a freaking deer in a well, like it was the opening, like the opening sequence to like Commando, where Arnold Schwarzenegger was playing with Alyssa Milano, and then had like ice cream, and they feed it to the deer. It was like that, and you literally could see, you could count the minutes, like this family gonna die, this family's gonna fucking die, when fucking when Michael Fassbender's tucking his little girl at night, it's like, are you gonna go somewhere, Daddy? It's like, no, but you're gonna go somewhere. You're gonna go 6 feet under. You keep this bullshit up. So and of course Magneto saves a guy at the steel mill. People think,
hold on, before we get there though, the way that he kills the people that killed his daughter he takes them.
Well, but that's not yet.
You're going to the steel mill scene before that. Okay,
no, I'm going to the steel mill scene where he saves a guy. They find out he's Magneto.
Before that scene.
Yeah. They save him. They save a guy who was about to get crushed by a huge forge.
Yeah.
And now guys are like, I think that motherfucker's Magneto. and then
he's gonna cast a spell.
He's gonna cast a spell on us. But and so he realizes the jig is up. So we're gonna go. We better escape. And then nobody can find their daughter. And then we realize the daughter is being held captive 30 feet away into the woods from their house. Like, okay, did the cops just take this daughter from the house and then brought it back out here and then didn't even leave? How did they get his daughter, and where was she? This was such a contrived situation. It was so unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they're armed with fucking bow and arrows because
metal.
Because of fucking metal. So you're mighty Magneto undone by a fucking bow and arrow. Cavemen would own Magneto.
Yes, if he doesn't have metal immediately, and he did.
And he did, because he used the little metal locket that they so cleverly set up before, that held his parents in it, and just used it to just slice everyone.
And you know what? He had access to that necklace before he gave himself over to them. Because he says, exchange my daughter for me. Mm-hmm. And they make the exchange. They're pretty cool about it. They're like, yeah, here's your daughter. He gets to, give her a hug before going over, and he sees that she has the necklace. He could have just been like, okay, I'm hugging you, take the necklace, and then dead, or just incapacitated. Whatever the hell Magneto wants to do. He has that much metal, he can do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, that's all well and true. But
and he doesn't take the necklace, he just goes.
He just goes, and then his daughter has a freak out, and then just summons a bunch of birds. It was the birdemic.
It was freaking birdemic up in that.
It was the fucking birdemic she summoned, and then one guy loses his shit, and then just launches the arrow that pierces not only the daughter, but the wife too, in one fucking shot.
That guy, I think, was like a Hawkeye right there.
Like, Piotr, what the fuck, man?
When did you get piercing?
Where did you get +2 piercing to arrow?
Yeah.
I don't know what accent that was, but that was.
I don't know.
So he loses his shit. He kills all the cops, and then
And some of the audience is like, "Why didn't you do that in the first place?"
My favorite part of that scene was that he actually cradles them in his arms, and he looks up to the heavens and says, "Is this what you want?
Is this what you want from me?"
It's like, God damn it.
Oh
God.
At least he didn't say no.
It's like. Oh god, this is a bunch of
Speaking
bullshit.
of which, how did Apocalypse make his helmet again?
He can do that.
He can make something that's like he can make metal.
Yeah,
But is that really all that the Magneto helmet is metal?
I suppose so.
That's how he blocks Charles Xavier?
Like he was
Xavier with
like,
just
like,
metal?
It was a specific type of psionic resistant metal, but I guess he was able to transmogrify regular sand into like that particular.
Okay, so he can do that too. Okay.
So by that logic, he's able to make adamantium just by anything.
yeah.
It's like
Also, why didn't he make himself one of those helmets to block Xavier?
because
He
would
needed
be
to use it. He needed to be.
yeah,
I
he
guess
would
so.
yeah he wouldn't be able if Xavier wore that he wouldn't be able to psionically link with anyone. So he
True though. Maybe he could have made that helmet to whenever he needed to. But anyway.
Before I forget, I would be remiss to not mention that the Quicksilver scene in which he saves everyone from an exploding mansion. You know, like the fifth,
yeah.
sixth, seventh time that the mansion has exploded by now.
Uh,
How many goddamn
yeah,
times
I
that
know.
makes-
Jesus fucking Christ! It's like the Spanish announce table.
But I'd be remiss to not mention that that entire scene was done better in Futurama. There's a scene in Futurama where Fry
I've
drinks,
seen them all. I just can't remember.
like Fry drinks a bunch of coffee, and then he saves everyone from a burning building because he has super speed now.
Oh, I bet you recall that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
This was pretty cartoony, dude.
Yeah, but
it really was. This was pretty bad.
I mean, like when Simpsons did it, no, Futurama did it.
Like there's, he's taking the dog out of the house and it's got a piece of pizza hanging out of its mouth, and you can see the skin flying on its, as the wind passes. It's just like it was one of those scenes where I wanted to laugh at it and I wanted to enjoy it and I wanted to think it was ridiculous, but I couldn't do it.
Not in the same movie where a mother and child were just shot in the fucking.
They wanted me to make that leap, but I just couldn't do it.
Actually, I should mention that at the beginning of the movie, where like his original four horsemen were trying to like fend off the usurpers who were trying to crash the old gods. One of them was apparently Ermac because she telekinetically lifted him and then twisted him around like that freaking Ermac fatality where he pulls out your guts. Yeah, like it was surprisingly bloody. Like the beginning of the movie was surprisingly bloody.
Yeah.
Like not only did she turn a guy into a fucking like modern art masterpiece of a statue, but like I think like one guy just got his skin fucking melted off until
the two guys just got like
just vaporized
to skeleton. Yeah.
And one guy got fucking lit on fire. Actually, several got lit on.
Incinerated.
Yeah, like I thought, like, is this supposed to be the R-rated X-Men?
Yeah,
movie?
that was the most violent part of the movie.
I mean, granted,
Except for maybe Wolverine slicing people and
all
tiny amounts of blood coming out of them.
Yeah, like that needed to be way more blood. It was like there was blood all the walls, but there was no blood around the dead bodies.
Also, he just looked kind of funny with that.
Yeah, he always did. He
Johnny Five thing or whatever.
Like he has a little Johnny Five helmet. It looks so ridiculous. It always looked ridiculous, but that's just been iconic of the character since inception. But backing away from that, we didn't really talk too much about the plot, but the plot is pretty much piecemeal at this point. It's Apocalypse wants to take over the world. He finds out about Charles Xavier through bullshit superpowers, kidnaps Charles Xavier, and then Havoc dies in the process of kidnapping, and takes him to Cairo, and that's it. And through no means of actual mutant powers, but rather just by the vague promise of power, he manages to get a bunch of mutants to follow him and be his new horseman.
Could have gone with like an X-Men Origins film. Could just just seeing the actual first X-Men, the ancient Egypt.
This is recounting it. I think it was like the final run count was around 2.5 hours, and as many plot points that it visited and how many threads finally wound itself back together. There was just it was such an exhausting movie to actually sit through, and the tone is completely I wouldn't say all over the place,
It
but
really is
all over
the place.
But here's the thing, like it was sort of like a rubber band. It kept stretching what it could do, and then all of a sudden it just snaps right back to what it thinks it wants to be. But that doesn't work
I think
because
it was more like, stretching the rubber band and then realizing, God, I don't know, if I stretch it a little too far, it might break, and I'm going to give it some ease.
yeah,
Oh, that was too much.
yeah, it's like there's no there like as much as Deadpool was like a really bloody fun adventure,
Yeah.
adult jokes all throughout. It still managed to balance its actual real character moments because
Oh, that perfect example
Like-
of how to balance comedy and drama.
yeah,
Because, damn, even taking out the certain scenes they had to.
yeah, I got the Blu-ray and they took out the scene where it explains why and how Wade got away from his girlfriend. That's how he got separated from him. And but because they had to take it out because the scene involved them going to a Mexican doctor to try and heal his cancer, and it turns out he's a phony. And Wade catches him and he just murders him, and there's blood everywhere, and it's a filthy hospital. It looks like the bloody. It looks like the operation scene in Jacob's Ladder. Like body parts are all over the floor. There's blood, and there's like. It reminded me so much of that scene, and he in that bloody mess, he sees his girlfriend, and he just fucking books it, and that's how we got separated. And I would think that it did not fit the tone of the movie at all. Like even though the movie was pretty bloody and it was pretty violent, but it wasn't like it didn't reach that point where it went beyond the pale. This went beyond the pale.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even. And the worst part it wasn't funny. It was like Grandma's Funeral serious.
Yeah.
And that's why it just didn't work, and they took it out of the movie. So by that logic, am I saying that this movie would be better if they didn't try to be funny? I think it would be funny. I think it would be better if they didn't try to make those stupid meta humor jokes that they did.
It would be better without that, but I think that overall, it would have been better with. I mean, and I know that there's going to be I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people who disagree about the Quicksilver scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have taken the whole thing out before I put that in there. I mean, and believe me, I understand. I can see how that's funny. I really can see it. Same way that it was, it was funny for me in in Future Past, but it was just too clashing and it was too far over the top. Even if this movie was just really well paced as far as comedy, and even then, this was just a little too much. It was too much. It was too long of a scene for what they were doing, and it was way too over the top. And it honestly kind of made his power seem a little bit too powerful.
Well, Quicksilver was already an OP level mutant.
I mean, he was already OP, but I don't know. They just should have done it differently. They just really.
I mean, I can't agree. I just can't. I don't think I can agree with you on that. I think I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that scene too much for me to want to get rid of it. Even though I can't agree with the fact that it is a very clashing moment of the movie.
They needed the Quicksilver scene in this movie. Believe me, guys. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Mm-hmm.
They just like it was the best scene of the last one. I think that it was like almost the worst scene of this one. It's like they had someone else look at the scene from the other from the Time in a Bottle. And not the same guy who did that one, but it feels like they had someone else be like, okay, I have to replicate that, and he just completely kind of just failed. That's how it was for me. I didn't like it. I know a lot of you are probably going to enjoy it, and I can't fault you on that. I can see the merit to it. It's just that I didn't like it in the way it was done in this movie. Maybe it's just a personal thing, but I didn't like it. It was just too much.
Yeah. I don't know. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Other than that, oh God, I don't want to hear anybody saying that he couldn't see past the cage because there was a cage in the way. I did see that comment. It was like you can only do it line of sight. There was a cage there. I was just.
You can. Apparently, he could teleport into a cage because he did that. He teleported into a cage.
Line of sight has holes. Yes, he teleported.
He did teleport into a cage.
Other than that, final thoughts.
All right.
Can I get you again?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Like my final thoughts is my final thoughts are just I wish this movie would have been interesting better if it were worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like Batman v Superman, I can always look at and just point my finger at like
Yeah.
like, and I could get some perverse amount of enjoyment from it. I'm not proud to say that I do, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But this is the sort of like occasional bumps of interesting bad followed by genuine good moments, but then uninteresting bad parts and just shoddy writing and just
Yeah.
and
Can't disagree.
shoddy writing and just completely meandering pace. There's a lot of tonal problems with the movie. There's a lot of structural problems with the movie, as I said with any X-Men movie, and I guess if you like the X-Men movies, like if you like them in spite of their structural problems, then I can't. This movie is going to be like an X-Men Unite, like X-Men
Last Stand.
Last Stand. Yeah, I was about to say United. No, X-Men Last Stand levels of betrayal, or even X-Men Origins level of betrayal.
Oh, God.
No, like this is so not the worst of the series. It really isn't. But in a series that wasn't really all that good to begin with, it's kind of hard for me to place it on that spectrum, really. But I will point to it as like that's the perfect example of why a lot of these movies just do not work.
Okay.
I think that's what I take away from this movie. Is like, if you look at X-Men Apocalypse, you will realize why these movies just don't work as far as traditional storytelling is concerned. But I think I got everything out.
Yeah, and trying to, I kind of wish that this was the movie that we our attention was drawn away from instead of Civil War, but trying to be on a little more positive, trying to be more positive, a little less negative. Here is it wasn't a bad movie overall. It wasn't a terrible movie. It was. Fuck, this isn't working, is it?
No, like it's an underwhelming movie.
It's an underwhelming movie, but it's still fun. If you can sit through 2.5 hours, it's still dumb fun.
That's where I'm pulling my hair out.
It's not good dumb
it's
fun.
It's not certainly not
good dumb fun, but it is a form of dumb fun that I was able to enjoy enough that I can say, like, do I wish I could have not seen it? No, I mean, it wasn't that bad.
I don't wish to unsee
like,
it.
Oh my God, I should have, rented it at the video store instead. No, not quite. I mean, it's the kind of movie you see in theaters. So.
And I think that goes back to my point of, like, why this movie is, like, typical of an X-Men movie. Because there are, like I said, there are good parts to this movie, and that's thanks to the X-Men formula, and that's thanks to, like, the X-Men like mythos in some ways, but with those good things comes this the hefty bag full of bad things that are probably never going to get better if they want to stay true to the X-Men. So that's, I don't know, like it's what you have to love it in spite of it. You have to love it in spite of it and yourself, and I don't think I can love it. That's like there's just way too much that's preventing me from giving this a recommendation. I mean, like the only way I would ever recommend this to somebody is if to say like, well, if you told me like what X-Men movie do you want me to see? I say, well, see X-Men First Class, then see this movie.
Yeah.
And then you say like that's X-Men First Class. I feel is as good as an X-Men movie will ever be. That's generally what I feel like. And that's why, and that movie is why there will never, ever be a truly great X-Men movie.
Unless they make a Victor Creed Origins movie. That's the only way. It's the only way. It's the only way they can get any better.
Till next time.